The paper that has been published today in Science Advances is looking at COVID-19 mortality and the reduction in life expectancy. First thing to understand is this is not COVID deaths. This is all deaths due to any cause. So it should not be confused at all with COVID deaths. The increase in number is not only because of COVID related deaths or any other death, but also because we are reporting more deaths. We are also increasing our population. So when there is more people, there are also going to be more deaths. Clearly, if there is any excess mortality, it has to be much less than 4.74 lakhs. In fact, probably less than half of that. When I look at this paper, I find the results completely untenable. The paper that has been published today in Science Advances is looking at COVID-19 mortality and the reduction in life expectancy during the pandemic. What it is trying to look at is excess mortality during the COVID pandemic in the year 2020. Now, first thing to understand is this is not COVID deaths. This is all deaths due to any cause. So it should not be confused at all with COVID deaths. Secondly, we should look at data that we already have. So we always should look at the highest quality data that one can access. There are two sources of high quality data in India. One is our civil registration system. People erroneously still believe that our system is grossly incomplete. This is simply not true, and I'll tell you why. Because we also have a sample registration system where an entire country we take a sample every year, in fact twice a year. And this SRS system is meant to look at mortality across the entire population. This SRS system has about 84 lakh population in which the survey is done every year. The civil registration system is extremely robust now. There are 291,000 units which report births and deaths. And while it is true that about 2 decades ago, our civil registration was not complete. In fact, in 2015, our estimate is that it was around 75% complete. But it has been increasing every year. Our coverage of reported deaths today is over 99%. So clearly, when you have data from 99% of deaths, it is not right to look at other sources, and I'll tell you some more things about the paper a little later. But first, why do we not look at the civil registration system? Second, if you are not happy with the civil registration system, if we think that maybe it doesn't have everything that we are looking for, then one should look at the sample registration system, or SRS. Now, what does the civil registration system and the SRS data show, which are both available for the year 2020? What CRS or civil registration system shows is that this year, between 19 and 20, there was an increase of 4.74 lakh deaths. But this is the case that has been occurring year to year. As I told you, from the past several years, we have been increasing our reporting and therefore reporting more deaths. So in the year before also, we had similar increase in number. So the increase in number is not only because of COVID related deaths or any other death, but also because we are reporting more deaths. Secondly, we are also increasing our population. So when there is more people, there are also going to be more deaths. So clearly if there is any excess mortality, it has to be much less than 4.74 lakhs. In fact, probably less than half of that. What we know is direct deaths due to COVID are reported during 2020 were about 1.5 lakhs. So that is the first piece of data that we should look at. The second piece of information that we should look at is the sample registration system, because this one is not dependent on reporting. This is a survey across the entire country, and then you extrapolate from there. Because it is nationally representative, we can now talk about the entire country. And what we have calculated, and I'll tell you the figures, that the 2019 figures were that 6 people died out of 1,000 during 2019. This is called crude death rate. In 2020, the figure was again 6 per 1,000. Now, you might say that there is absolutely no change. But we also know that in the previous years, there was a reduction of 0.1 to 0.2 per 1,000. In 2020, we don't see that reduction. So there might be 0.1 per 1,000 or 0.2 per 1,000 increase. If you convert it into national data, again it will be consistent with the civil registration system, that it was probably much lower than 4.74 lakh. So with these two pieces of information, when I look at this paper, I find the results completely untenable.